What's going on, everyone? This is episode 6 of On the Floor with Liv and Cor. I'm Cor, that's Liv, and we are on the floor yet again. This is episode 6. I can't believe it. 6 episodes in, and I'm still having a blast. Liv, how are you today?
I'm tired.
Yeah. It sounds
I'm
about right.
sleepy, but I'm good. I'm like energized. I'm coming off of the high of the weekend, which we'll get into a little bit more, but I'm definitely tired. But hey, I'm not the one doing gymnastics, so no
I know.
complaints.
I know. Bless up. Bless up. We had an amazing weekend. We hope you guys caught our bonus episode. We had an insane time recording that.
The behind the scenes of it are spectacular, by the way.
Spectacular. And what's the quote that your mom texted you after watching the opening sequence?
My mom, I sent it to my mom and she goes, "You two are literally insane." It
Yeah.
was actually something funnier than that. I don't remember what she said, but it was so funny.
Yeah, but she's right on. And honestly, our whole weekend was insane. We were just laughing constantly, singing
You two
Wicked.
are lunatics. That's what it was.
Oh,
Thanks,
perfect.
Mom.
Yeah, Ellen, we appreciate it. No, we had an amazing time. We'll get to that in a second. But we have an exciting episode for you, and bless you, for those watching on YouTube. We had a little sneeze moment. Um, but we had a great weekend, and a lot of you wrote in and wanted to hear our recap of Michigan State UCLA, which we were both on the ground for. So we will be giving that to you throughout our bubbles today. But yeah, Olivia, what do you think if we get started the same way we did with episode 5?
Oh, the DMs, love, 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 love. But we need to
Okay.
crack one open first. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm dying of thirst, so I'm gonna begin. LaCroix Pamplemousse.
Wait, it's the one. It's the one. And
It's
thank
the
you for saying pamplemousse and not grapefruit.
Pamplemousse.
Period.
All right, what do you have?
Raspberry lime spindrift.
I've never had one of those actually.
Ever?
Yeah, I've never had one of those spindrifts.
The first spindrift I ever had was at the salad place in New York called Chopped. Do you know?
Ah,
Yeah, it's like they have like unconventional cans of soda at the checkout, which was the Spindrift, and I had it there. And then I decided I loved it, and so raspberry lime, and guess what, guys? Sparkling water. I
good
nailed
job,
it again.
Corey.
We're 2 weeks in a row.
All right, let's crack them open.
Crack them
Ready?
open. One, two, three.
Oh, it's the best.
Cheers. Oh, oh, nothing like some
Pamplemousse.
nothing like some good bubbles to recap the weekend. All right, pull up those DMs, Liv. We'll
Okay.
work our way through. I,
Okay, I will start because I believe I sent you this first one. Okay, so this was Thursday. Yeah, I think I was on the plane to LA and I was scrolling and I saw that Penn Gymnastics, University of Pennsylvania, posted a video of one of their athletes, Alicia's floor routine that said it happened Alicia's floor debut after 2 years of not training floor. She's back and better than ever.
let's go.
That's amazing. And especially, usually, if you're like retiring an event, it's probably like on the second half of your college career.
Right.
So, mad props to Alicia. I have no words other than just joy and proud for that moment for her. And it's just proof that you can do it if you want
Yeah,
to.
I love it. Alicia, congrats. We're so happy for you. We love it. Okay, the next one was a message that I sent to Olivia after we had a guest appearance from Antonia, who is Olivia's dog, her corgi, on the podcast last week. The infamous account at Jimterpets wrote to us and said, "This is a very important question. I'm going to need a top 5 ranking of best mascots." After someone wrote in and asked a question of who Antonia's favorite mascot was last week. So, top 5 ranking of best mascots. What
Is
are
this,
some
are we
mascots?
talking gymnastics schools only?
And maybe an honorable mention, because I do have an honorable mention.
Yeah, because I kind of do too. Okay. I'm gonna say I do love a live mascot moment. So I
Yeah.
definitely appreciate when like Dubs the husky is walking around and he wears his little shades. So like anything that has a dog component is definitely up there for me.
Right, we did say that the husky at UW would be Antonia's best friend. So
Exactly. So I
that was
think Dubs is up there for me. I'm gonna put the Oregon Duck up there. I know they don't have
period.
a gymnastics team, but I have been around the Duck doing some work for BTN and hilarious. Actually, all the Big Ten mascots are so funny. I did a blood drive with them for the Abbott blood drive that partnered with the conference. And for those of you who are listening and know me, the fact that I did a blood drive is monumental. And they
Big
brought all of the mascots, and it was chaos. I've never seen something like that in my life. We have like the terrapin walking around, and then the duck is walking around and like flicking everybody in the head. It was so funny. So I will
wow.
always just have that in my mind.
Okay, live mascots and Oregon Duck honorable mention.
Yeah.
Um, I think I have to go for like the mascots that perhaps were dancers in their past life because
Yes.
they just served. So I have like the BYU Cougar in my
Yes,
mind.
I was thinking of him.
Yes, I have Herky from the University of Iowa, like slaying some
Yes.
touchdown moments in the end zone. And I think that if I had to just throw in an honorable mention of a ridiculous, amazing choice of a mascot, like I think about the conference room table when they're identifying the brand of a university, and they're
Right.
like, okay, yeah, what are we gonna do for UC Santa Cruz? The banana slugs. Hmm. So that rounds out our top five mascots that we love.
I'm
Back
going
to
to be
you,
thinking
Liv.
about that question though, because there are so many good mascots. I mean, obviously, I'm a Michigan girly, so anything Ohio State Bluck, but I can't believe their mascot is so funny. Like, Brutus just walks around and is like talking to everyone, but he's a nut. His
Yeah,
head is a nut.
he's literally a nut. Yeah,
Nut. Yeah. So
right.
I digress. I digress. And
Arkansas also has a live mascot. I would like to mention
oh, really?
they have a wild hog that I guess
Oh,
is
yeah,
not
and LSU is the tiger.
tiger, right? The
I swear to
bulldog,
God.
The Georgia bulldog. Seen
That's
it.
cute. I swear though, if I went to University of Florida and they were like, meet Gatey the Gator, I'd lose my mind.
Lose my mind. I'd be like, get me out of here. Get me out.
Corey, fun fact about Corey and I, we were going to Megan Skaggs' wedding and we were driving, it's a sore subject. We were driving an electric vehicle and it didn't charge, so we had to pull off the side of the road to like some random place, charge the car, and we were at this little like I don't even really want to call it like a restaurant. It was kind of like a gator shack, and we looked at the menu and it was like gator bites. I was like, I'm out.
I'm out. I'm out. But honorable mention of that place, they referred to it as a sports bar, and the only reason that made it a sports bar was because it had TVs in there basically playing ESPN Ocho different things. And one of them that we were watching was unicycling basketball. So, torrential downpour, Florida. We're here for Megan Skaggs' wedding. Electric car isn't charging, and gator bites were offered to us. Like, what a great day.
It was something else.
Yeah, I digress. Okay. The next thing I need to bring up was my next DM to Olivia. It was a Kaylee Boozer leap sequence on balance beam. Okay? Okay. I'm just like switch leap, switch split. Number one, anytime I see a switch split, I'm like, oh, what just happened? Was that right? Is that right? But we must. Of course, it's like a beautiful leap sequence, and I'm obsessed with Kaylee Boozer. We mentioned that last week. Everyone must zoom in on the judge in the background, who saw that switch split and did the same thing that I did. We just went, "Hmm." Sweet Dolores in the background is going, whoa. And I'm not sure if that was a deduction whoa or if it was like a that was cool whoa. I'm gonna go with the that was cool because that's how I felt.
And it
But
went 995, but maybe that could have been the half 10. I don't know. I thought it was pretty dang good. So,
exactly, exactly. So, what
okay,
do
the
you got for
final
us, Liv?
one. Well,
Yeah,
I responded to you and said, LOL, I'm dead. So that was funny.
perfect.
The final one, did you see? Well, you did because I sent it to you, but to the group. Did you see GW's Lola, I think I just looked up her last name, Montevago.
Yep.
Someone tell me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Program record 9975 on bars. It was fabulous.
Yeah.
It was a stunner. I watched it a couple times and I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, I'm watching it again right now.
Yeah, it's
Just a
good.
beautiful Ray. Oh my goodness. You know,
She goes, I think she goes clear hip, Stalder, double tuck, which is just so like, not that it's unique, so to speak, but anytime someone does a Stalder, I'm like, who are you and where have you been taught gymnastics?
toe on Stalder.
Go on,
Double
Stalder.
toe on Stalder stuck double tuck. The crowd goes wild.
I'm obsessed.
I'm
I'm obsessed.
obsessed. I'm obsessed. And that's the end of our DM segment, but those are some really good ones this week. And I also just want to like pat ourselves on the back, Olivia. I have been having a blast diving in to some programs that I wouldn't normally put on my TV this year
Yes,
and
totally.
really watching some phenomenal gymnastics from some phenomenal gymnasts. And so, Penn and GW and, you know, obviously we're talking Michigan and we're talking these other schools, but there's been some really cool stuff. Even this week, we were talking about UW Lacrosse. We were texting about a program record bar score from UW Lacrosse this week. And it's just so fun to be able to honor and celebrate these amazing programs around the country, whether they're on, big networks on the weekends or they're not. We're just celebrating all of these gymnasts and all that they're doing. So
Yes.
kudos to everyone. We are loving watching you.
Love.
All right, are you ready for our event bubbles of the week?
Yes, let's event bubble, and we're gonna start on vault, and we're starting with Michigan State vault.
We must. We must.
We're
And
starting.
side note, if you have not seen Michigan State's vault rotation, I believe they've spliced them all together on the Big Ten Gymnastics account. Like, go and watch the most iconic, amazing
It
vault
was
rotation of your
insane.
life.
It was insane. I'm like, I did see someone make a comment, side note on that compilation, and they were like, why did you include the vault that didn't stick? And I'm like, because it's massive, and you do need to see that the vault score that was dropped was Gabby Stevens' like monster of a vault that she was trying to stick and did the step back, and you know what I mean. But
Right,
I actually like when teams do that because even if it wasn't perfect, I want to see all the vaults.
right,
Because if a program record happens, it doesn't just happen because five people hit. It happens because it's a whole process of trying to figure it all out. So I feel like it's important. But yes, that vault rotation was amazing. The exhibition stuck landing by Katie Duplessis, amazing.
right. To have a full lineup of 10 start value vaults, and then to throw down an exhibition vault that's also a 10 start value, pretty much stuck.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I was right in between bars. So Corey was sitting in the alumni area, and I was on the floor getting footage. And I was filming, like recording bars, recording vault, kind of going back and forth. And then Abby Larson from BTN was over by vault. So she was kind of getting that angle. And after, I don't remember, it might have been while the sixth person was going for UCLA on bars, I heard Amy Doyle look at Mike Rowe and go, I held on to it. And he was like, yeah, you did. She goes, I literally gripped the mat so hard and held on to it. I was like, I'm not moving. And he goes, and you didn't. And I'm so proud of you. And I was like, I needed to hear that. It was like
Right.
the cutest thing ever. And then my other selfish moment from that day is I looked at Sage and I was like, can you just stick your vault? Like, I literally just want to see you stick it. She sticks it. She high fives her team. She whispers over to me and she goes, ask and you shall receive.
Iconic. Iconic.
I
Iconic.
was like, do, do you want your crown now or like when is this happening? So that was just like my fangirl moment
Right.
of that
Also,
vault rotation. So good.
also of note was in the other video I saw, Big Ten gymnastics post, was Brooklyn Moore saying that she was obsessed with Sage Kellerman's vault.
Yeah,
We love that. We love,
we all are.
yeah,
All are like Brooklyn Morris. So we
absolutely.
talked about that, and obviously that's the highest vault rotation in the country. So at this meet, we saw two of the highest event rotations in the country. Like, get out of here.
Get out of here.
But we would be remiss if we didn't mention LSU vault because LSU on Friday night went guns blazing on vault, and it was awesome. And
Yes,
again, like Haley isn't in that lineup yet.
right.
Aaliyah is finding that landing. Chase Brock, when she sticks, it's like I she's one of those athletes that the technique is just to die for.
It's so good.
To die for.
So good. And she
So that was
consistently
a
is
very no,
sticking.
and Kalia Lincoln too.
I'm so happy for her. I'm
I
so happy for her. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And we had KJ back in the lineup.
Yes, and one of my best friends is the biggest KJ fan ever, and she was losing her mind.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, look, you and I've talked about this 100 times when it comes to like the Shea full, the big flare, that's
Right.
KJ. You can't
KJ.
not put that in your lineup. It's going to go 99 plus.
Totally.
So
Totally.
like, what do you do? Do you not put that in? You have to put that in.
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. I love
So
that. Okay, and then I watched the Utah, Florida, West Virginia meet after I got back
mm,
to Seattle last night, which was a very fun meet to watch. It was cool. There was good energy in the stadium. The
the stick
commentators kept.
plunger now has sparkles on it, by the way.
Correct. I saw the rhinestoned West Virginia logo on the stick plunger. Yes. And we are also having a hard time getting the stick plunger to stay on heads, quite similar to the LSU crown. And that's fine. It's present. That's all that
That's
matters.
showbiz, baby.
That's showbiz. But can you talk about these? We have two vault moments. One of them
Yeah.
is actually a question that I'm going to ask you. I was watching the Utah vault lineup and I saw Grace McCallum do a Yurchenko 1.5.
Yeah.
Has she been doing that all season or is that new? Because I remember for sure last year she was doing a different vault. Do you know?
I don't. If
Okay. We
anyone
have,
knows, tell us because I have no
yeah.
idea. But I mean, hey, if you're Grace McCallum, you can just kind of whip it out.
Which I was not, I was like surprised because I wasn't aware, but
Right.
like I was just kind of like, you crushed that girl. So
Right.
but please, if you know, we didn't do that research ahead of this
Yeah,
episode,
I
but
actually have no idea, but it was clean. It was nice.
yeah, it was. It was. It was really nice. It
And
was really,
then McKenna Smith, did you see that?
yes. Yes.
She's been having some problems with that vault. And I always butcher the name in Omelianchik.
Yes. That vault. Half on front, right? Half on front pike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stunner.
Stunner.
She's
Yes.
been a little funky with that lately, and it was great. And
Right.
it's
Just
nice to see her kind of
arms
figure that out.
arms straight in the air on that stick. It was so good.
It
And
was so good.
it was so good. Yeah. Okay, those are our vault bubbles for the week. Those are some good ones. We had some great vault. I mean, the Michigan State vault lineup was oh
I have to say, too, every single person I talked to after that meet, whether they were a fan of gymnastics, a UCLA fan, alum, etc., Michigan State fan said that was electricity. Every single person I talked to,
yeah.
they were like, I've never seen a vault rotation like that. It was insane. I was
I
like,
was I was sitting with Felicia Hano and Gracie Kramer during that vault rotation, and Felicia kept grabbing my shoulder and was like, she's stuck. I go, just wait. Second girl up. Oh my gosh, she's stuck. I go, just wait. And I literally the whole time was just like, I'm telling you, you guys, I knew this was gonna be the case, and they delivered. They delivered.
yeah, that was
Just
amazing.
amazing. Okay,
Absolutely.
let's go to bars, and I need you to just start with this first one because I watched this routine this morning, and I don't see the deduction, but it was a really terrible angle, but like I didn't see the deduction.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so this is Stanford's Yui Soma.
That's my best guess. So please correct us if we're
Please correct
incorrect.
us. I would love to know that and say it properly.
I must know. Like
Mother of God, the handstands. She does the first handstand and practically presses up. Like she kips, and the kip is so technically well done, and like zoop. Then she kind of just hangs out there. I'm like,
very Vanessa Zamaripa-esque.
oh my God, it was to die. And then she just, this natural swing is so good. Like you can tell that she just, it's very comfortable for her. And the rest of the routine was stunning. I mean, the whole routine is great, but those handstands, I saw someone tweet and they were like, if you're if you get a 10 and your handstands don't look like this, then you didn't get a 10. I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah,
Couldn't agree more. Like when we're discussing in all these discrepancies, good, great, excellent, superb, that's superb.
correct. It's kind of like the bonus. Like
$100.
it feels like if you were ever questioning if the handstand hits vertical, why not just hold it so that they can't question it? You know?
No, it was amazing. And I really hope, and I bet you know what? I bet you she's been doing her handstands like this and no one noticed, and now everyone is. And I hope we keep noticing, and I hope that her scores just keep going up and up and up because she's doing it all and better.
Correct.
So good.
Speaking of holding handstands, this brings me to just something I noted in a USA Gymnastics photo dump that happened this morning. Uh,
Mm.
Shilese Jones is back at national team camp.
Oh my God, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I think that's so cool. That's so cool.
Speaking of holding handstands, what a good segue by you.
Yeah. You know, those goat tour videos that were going viral. Like, come on, I was so obsessed.
Touche.
Just holding that in her superhero Leo, I was obsessed. Okay,
And that's when, that's like a coach's dream, right? To say like just hold the handstand, but it takes a very special person to be able
totally.
to hold. Your body position has to be there. There's no if, ands, or buts in a
Right.
body position if you're holding a handstand. If you're holding like, if I were to have held a handstand, it just would have been like, do you want us to take more deductions?
And then you have Kayla DiCello and Sky Blakely's collab post that they did in the fall of them holding a handstand on on the low bar while answering just like questions. Did you see that?
It's just like not like that just doesn't happen. People are
It's so funny.
insane.
It's so funny. Okay, speaking of those Florida gymnasts,
Yes.
I had to note, and I just like was so amazed by the Florida bar rotation during
Mm.
in West Virginia that I just like wrote out the stats of as I was seeing it. We saw 5 out of 6 stuck dismounts. Amazing. 4 scores over 9-9. They dropped Sky Blakely's 9.825, which was the only score that she was the only one that didn't stick. And their bar lineup, just so that we can throw out some names, some name dropping. Sloane Blakely, Anya Pilgrim, Riley McCusker, Sky Blakely, Leanne Wong, Selena Harris Miranda.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, good luck breaking into that lineup. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
this is a star-studded lineup that had just some beautiful lines and some, I mean, you're sticking dismounts. Like, they're dialing in the details for sure, right? There's been some discussion about some overscoring of Florida, but I'll admit, when I was watching this Florida bars rotation, I was enjoying what I was watching, and it was really great gymnastics. And I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not here to discuss overscoring. I'm here to just discuss that like they're crushing it, and that's a great bar lineup. And I was so stoked to see it as a fan and as a spectator.
So we kind of briefly talked about how we think Michigan State's vault lineup is perhaps the best in the country, or at least we saw that this weekend. We mentioned that about UCLA, Florida. We're not there yet, but we're all thinking it. Would you put Florida in that category of best on bars?
I kind of knew where you were heading with this question, and the only other lineup that I can think of
OU.
that is OU.
I
That's
would agree with that.
that's rivaling. Well, Cal.
Okay. Yeah.
And we keep having that Casey Brown in the
Yeah.
anchor spot moment. No, I'm not ready to say that Florida is the best bar lineup, but I will be tracking this for the rest of the season to see who I can name at the end of the season as the best bar lineup in the country.
I will say that when it comes to obviously you just named that roster of athletes competing on bars. That is like every award in the book in a bar lineup. And then you look at like a Cal and an OU, and not all of those athletes were elites. That's just straight good technique
Hmm.
and good coaching of the technique.
Hmm.
So I do think that not to say Florida isn't good coaching, it's just different. It's
Totally.
different when you have athletes that have done every skill in the book. And it's
Right.
like, so how are we going to move around this composition versus what Cal and OU are doing, where they're just like refining. And even you look at Audrey Davis doing the Pike Jaeger to the pack directly connect, like you're making refinements for even improved scores. So I would say that's something I think about, not to disregard the Florida lineup because I think it's excellent, to say
100%.
that there's nuances that are different. That's
100%.
my take on that.
I will agree with that. I will agree with that.
Shall we?
Flowers for everyone.
I love flowers.
Flowers for everyone. Florida
Shall we
gets
beam?
them.
Let's beam.
Okay, go.
Okay, I'm going first. Nikki Smith stuck double tuck. Okay, Michigan State did not have the beam rotation they needed to close out that meet. They did not. I have seen discrepancy on social media discussing scores and here and there. I'm not a judge. Truthfully, I was so nervous that I hardly watched. I
Mm,
was like nervous for both teams.
mm,
It was like the most nervous I've been in a long time, to be totally honest.
for sure.
I need to go and rewatch the meet. I haven't had the chance to do that yet. There were some things here and there that I was like, it's a little over, it was a little under, but that's showbiz. The
Mm,
Nikki Smith stuck double tuck off beam was pure brilliance. And
totally.
she stuck that vault. I will die on this hill of giving this stat of 4 out of 5 stuck. You're taking 1.5, and we just found out number one in the country on vault.
Number one.
And then she goes to beam, and I mentioned this on our bonus episode. I'm pretty sure it was the bonus episode, that she's always been good at beam, but she hasn't loved beam, and something shifted. And her confidence is just like dialed in. She seems more comfortable and relaxed. And I saw her stick the double tuck and warm up, and I went, God, wouldn't that be awesome if she did that? And bam, found it. My girl.
It also really energized the team,
It
right? Like
did.
the moment she stuck that dismount, you watch her, the whole Michigan State crowd just like throw their hands in the
Erupt.
air and just like get so energized. And
Yes.
with a couple shaky routines, a moment like that can be the thing that can set you up for success in the back half of your lineup, right?
Yes.
And so that was what I was like hoping and like excited for. And I mean, Nikki, like slay girl, that was amazing and inspiring, truthfully.
It was great. It
Yeah,
was just a highlight of mine from the whole weekend.
I couldn't agree more. Okay, I'm gonna go Adeline Kenlin being back on beam.
My heart.
Right, right. Adeline Kenlin being back, she had a little a compression sleeve on her knee, right? She had that knee injury last year. But it is so good to see her back up on beam. She works beam really well. I actually love that she presents this performative yet serious and composed like body
Yeah.
language and facial expression on beam, right? It's not this overly smiley moment, but it is a focused, passionate way to work beam. And I thought she did a great job. And honestly, I she went 9875 in her debut after injury, and it just made me happy. So we had to include it in our beam bubbles this week. So
So proud of her.
good job, ads.
I love her.
Yeah.
Okay, my last two are coming from the same meet.
Okay, let's go.
So Cal went to NC State, and it was a good meet. If you didn't watch this meet, you should. It was very entertaining. And the first one was Chloe Negretti anchoring beam. I there's this passion, this like intensity in the way she even just looks at the equipment that makes me be like, oh, okay, it's
Mhm.
happening.
Right.
And this beam routine was exactly like all the other versions of it we've seen, that is just technically well done. It's aggressive, it's fluid,
Right.
confident. Like, I just have no notes other than it's fantastic. And that's not the only way to work beam. But I do think that when you see that in someone's eyes, you're like, oh, it's going down.
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
I felt when I watched her do beam. I was like, hands in the air,
Yeah.
you do your thing, girl. So that I cannot express enough how much I enjoyed watching that routine and hope to see it in postseason this year.
I do feel as though people are tracking Chloe Negretti this year, which is
Yes.
so cool, right? I keep seeing her name popping up. I see videos of her popping up,
Yeah.
and I think obviously like the exposure of the ACC network through ESPN and
Yeah.
lots of meets being covered, that's helping for sure. But I couldn't agree with you more. the way she works, the way she does gymnastics, I think she's probably an amazing teammate. I have not gotten the chance to meet her before, but big Chloe Negretti fans over here on the floor.
Totally. Couldn't
Yeah.
agree more. Then my last one might like make me kind of tear up if I'm being totally honest.
I think it will make all of, or it does make all of us tear up.
Okay, so Abby Scanlon from Cal. Last routine of the meet, slid into the anchor spot, has not competed. This is her debut on beam. And she goes in. I kind of blacked out watching it because I never personally experienced something that insanely big in your career, that kind of moment, but I could feel the team. I was watching it, I could feel Liz and how she was feeling. I could feel the team, and she slays everything. And then when she landed the dismount, she couldn't even get her heels together fast enough before the team was screaming and like crying. And she, at 995, debut, career high, I mean, all the things. And seeing the team jump on her and Liz, and they're all hugging and jumping, I was just like, that's sports right there.
For sure.
And I texted Liz after and I was like, I literally cried. And she was like, get in line. Like,
You're right.
right? And to see Maya Lazan do her interview and be asked about it and just pretty much tear up and was like, we've been there together from day one. I've seen her go through everything to get to this moment and to have that and to not score aside to put up that performance, but then get that score and be rewarded for the incredible work she did. I just like I
I
don't have
loved
anything
it.
else to say, but
I know
pure.
I have no notes. Well, I do. I do. Abby has been one that has has been identified as the most loyal teammate, the most passionate, energetic person on the floor. She is always there. She's always there. Now, sometimes you see her with a video camera in her hands because some in past years she's actually been creating content for the team, which is super cool. Now they have First Chair Symphony doing that. But uh, sometimes she has a camera in her hands, and now she's in the anchor spot on beam going 995, lighting up her teammates, providing all of that energy into that team. It's so inspiring. And then from a character standpoint, I'm 95% sure that she's the SAC president, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee president on campus at Cal. And even if she's not, she's in some leadership role and has been in some leadership role in some capacity during her time at Berkeley. Sh An incredible human, a great teammate, and it's you just want the best for them. And that moment is all of those teammates just coming together and crying over the fact that they see her work day in and day out. She's not just someone with a camera. She's not just SAC president. She's a contributor to the Cal team doing amazing things both emotionally and physically. And now she's contributing scores. What more can you ask for? I'm so happy for her.
I'm so happy.
Yeah. Okay, on to floor.
Kick us off.
Okay. Being on the floor at UCLA in Poly Pavilion, I can speak from the perspective as a UCLA alumni. We use this term poly magic, and it's hard to describe. People don't really get it, people don't really understand it. And of course, everyone has their thing, right? Like our night in the PMAC or our night in Bud Walton or our night at Chrysler or whatever the case may be. But poly magic was there and it was electric. It was so cool. Over 10,000 people were inside of Poly Pavilion. It was the first ever gymnastics meet on Fox on the channel. You had Samantha Peshek, UCLA alumni, commentating the meet. You had Janae Honest doing sideline for the meet. We had over 45 different alumni from eras spanning from the 70s all the way to present that were standing there. And during the floor rotation, they actually broke the barriers down. So all of us alumni were able to kind of go stand on one part of the floor and be right next to the floor during all the action. And it was just incredible. It was just incredible. UCLA threw down a 49-8 on floor. It was unbelievable. There is one routine in particular that I want to highlight that quite literally brought a tear to my eye. Watching Brooklyn Moores in person emote every single movement through her routine is truly a work of art. It puts artistic into the sport of artistic gymnastics. The way she moves her hands, the way she uses her eyes, the way she just brings her whole body into it. It's part of the reason why that round off back layout is like floaty and amazing and gorgeous, and people go wild for it. Is like it's emotional. I like have chills even just thinking about it. And then when you know Brooklyn and you know some of the moments she's gone through in the past few years, and now she's ranked number one on floor exercise, no one deserves it more. And I am just so in awe. I actually had some people texting me during that floor rotation, and one of the texts was, um, I would have done anything to be there in person to watch Brooklyn's floor routine. And you even mentioned it. You were across the floor from me during that. We literally made eye contact after Brooklyn's routine, and it was like that. I don't even care what the score is. That was an emotional experience that I'm so grateful that I got to experience.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And I've actually never met her until this weekend. And I flagged her down while bars warm up was happening. And I was like, I have to tell you that I literally feel something deep when I watch you compete. And she was like, so, I mean, first of all, she's just an angel and just a lovely, lovely human being. But you could tell that meant so much more to her than, oh my God, you won the event. Or, oh my God, this. You could tell that the emotion that she gives off and gives to others when she does floor means the world to her. And I mean, I firmly believe she is should be a contender for the floor title at nationals. Now people are going to say she's not doing a double layout first or it's not a three pass routine. Like that's showbiz how it is now. That's what's happening. I've said showbiz a lot today, so now it's in my back pocket of not saying that happens. That's how the sport works. You play the game to figure out how it works, and the way she's doing it is well done. I couldn't see, everyone was saying it should have been a 10. From my angle, it looked spectacular. I heard someone say that the first pass had like a little thing, but like, okay,
Right,
49. Okay,
right, right. I,
okay.
I feel like I remember seeing like maybe like a skipping rock kind of landing on that first
Yeah,
pass, but nonetheless, it's on our list of things to go back and look at. But I don't
yes.
really care. I don't
I
really care.
don't either.
I don't really care. It's her with her three rhinestones on each of the sides of her hair with her slick back. I'm just here for it, and I'm obsessed with you, Brooklyn. So, oh, but also the rest of the lineup crushed it. Jordan Childs went 10, anchored it. Shea Campbell brought the house down
And the
boots.
thing when they rip up the paper and throw it, so I've always kind of seen the whole like little confetti moment on TV, but I never understood. So I'm walking around Polly and I'm looking at all the seats and they have like a little description of like the meet format. And I thought that was awesome. And then it says at the last routine on the last pass, rip this up and throw it in the air. And I was like, I would hate to be on the cleanup crew, but that is a great idea.
Right, right. They have blue and yellow packets of paper, and it has what they refer to as denography on it. And so, actually, for all of the routines in the lineup, it says before the first pass, she does this. Before the second pass, she does this. And so, it gets the student section, which at UCLA they call the den. Um, they give them this like choreography to do, and it's cute. Like the whole first couple rows, they're all like getting into the routines with them, and it's
I love
fun.
that.
But the confetti moment at the end was a cherry on top. But
It's awesome.
yeah, I mean that was an amazing rotation, and it you couldn't have asked for a better storyline for the first time ever on Fox, right? You have a team leading the way ahead by 7/10 into the last rotation, and then UCLA throws down a 49-8 on floor. Home team wins the meet. Like, of course, the people will say what the people will say. But when it comes down to it, these storylines like Rudy, these storylines like Cool Runnings, like, all of these sport films, these amazing moments. It actually reminded me of the 2018 national championship when the camera crew and the trophy were over by OU, and then all of a sudden Peng Peng Lee scored 10 on beam and won the meet for UCLA at the national championship in 2018. It felt very similar to that. And
Yeah.
it was just a great storyline to throw down. So,
And look, I think Michigan State is a fantastic team, and I think there is a lot of season left. And so when it comes to having these meets that aren't what you want and don't come out the way you want out of your control, all you can do is move on. And I think this is an incredibly smart and talented group of women that see that. And so I'm excited for them and the rest of their season. And I do want to say one more thing about the UCLA floor rotation. It is so impressive that Sydney Barros went after that incredible 10 from Jordan and absolutely slayed. The choreo is fabulous.
mm,
The energy she gives is so amazing. And so just massive, massive kudos to her for going in that moment. All you want to do is celebrate with your team, but she had a job
right,
and she did it and it was
right,
great. So a big shout out to her because that's not easy to do.
right. I know we typically do multiple bubbles for each event, but that one was just such an iconic one. We're going to leave it at
We're
that.
going
And
to
many
leave
of
it
you
at that.
asked for a little Michigan State UCLA recap. I feel like we've been able to give it to you on this
So
episode.
cute.
So super cool. Liv, we also wrote down some unique routine bubbles. Maybe these will be our bubbly vibes of
Yes.
the week. Let's run through these. You go first with the first one from Rutgers.
Okay, yes. So there's a gymnast on Rutgers team. So Soph Ginger Sophia or no, sophomore. Soph. I'm looking at my notes. Rutgers sophomore Ginger Richards. And her technique on bars is fascinating. She goes like handstand and then she like blinds while she turns and
Right.
goes into the Jaeger. And then again for the dismount, blinds while she turns into the Rudy dismount. I find Rudy bars dismounts to be maybe one of the most impressive things ever because I just like I can't even fathom. And so
Yeah.
I just wanted to give her a shout out because I thought that the way she worked bars was different and unique. And I don't know many other people doing a Rudy dismount off bars. I bet there are some out there, but this one just stuck out to me. And I always love to see a little something different. So I love that.
I love that. I loved that. Okay, there was a couple moments of note at the Iowa versus Nebraska battle over the corn, if you will,
Yes.
meet. One of them that I thought was funny in this concept of battle over the corn. Did you see that picture that Nebraska posted of the edge of their arm of their Leo that has like a corn husk on it?
Iconic.
Iconic, so cool, so cool. I also, of note, Iowa posted a caption. I don't remember where it was, but basically it was a screenshot of the Iowa gymnastics feed, and there was a lot of red in the background from being in the stadium at Nebraska. And it was funny. There was like too much red, but Iowa prevails, and it was Jen Llewellyn's first Big Ten win of her career. So lots of good stuff there. But an iconic photo that was taken was the photo of all of it's the Canada picture, we'll call it, right?
Yes.
We had Iowa's Orly Tran, Sydney Lee, Cassie Turner, Cassie.
Cindy Turner, Cassie Lee.
Oh gosh, you're right. Sydney Turner, Cassie Lee. I knew that. Absolutely.
You have the names.
We also have Ilka in there. And then from Nebraska, we have Nia Kraus and Emma Spence, all on competing on one floor. Amazing. The only
I
thing
love
better would
that.
be to have Brooklyn Moores in that picture. I mean,
Yes.
would be so cool. I mean, there's many other amazing Canadians competing in NCAA, but when I was thinking about this episode,
Thinking Big Ten and,
there is a lot of Canadians in the Big Ten. There
I
are.
know.
There are.
We should get like a full Canada picture at Big
I love
Tens.
it.
I'm putting that
Okay,
on my
and the last bubbly vibe that I wanted to mention was the sister sister moment that we had at the West Virginia
Yes,
and Florida moment. Yes. While Tia and Tamara Mowry were not there, we did have Sky and Sloane Blakely both competing for Florida, and Carly and Kayla DiCello were both at the meet as well because Carly DiCello competes for West Virginia. What more can you ask for? We love a good family moment.
sister.
Did you grow up with Sister Sister like Disney or okay, I just wanted to make sure I'm not too old.
How do you think I didn't grow up with sister, sister?
Well, sometimes when you know, like recently this has been happening. I'm like, oh, did you watch Lizzie McGuire growing up? And they're like, what's Lizzie McGuire? I'm like, oh, oh, okay. So you probably watched Wizards of Waverly Place. Like,
And
um,
fuck Charlie.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Okay, to finish this one, I just wanted to run through some of the questions that we got on Twitter today from this episode. I'm pretty sure we answered most of them.
Okay.
UCLA and MSU recap, Abby Scanlon Beam. We have another UCLA MSU recap, and the both of those scores being the highest, um, vault and floor being the highest in the country so far. Someone said, "Oh, the whole NC State beam lineup. There were some wobbles, but overall they were so solid. And Chloe Negretti anchor is just chef's kiss. Yes, we couldn't agree more. Um, let's see. Oh, this is interesting, and I want to get your take as a gymnast on what your thoughts are. But we will also get a little bit more information from some judges on this particular question. Someone says, when folks online provide justification for low or high scores, specifically on floor, it always comes down to, but her leaps, what in quotes, but her leaps. Can y'all talk about leap requirements other than a 180-degree split? Are they supposed to be spinning in a circle while jumping? Does it matter if they don't make it around?
That's a great question.
Great.
I would love for a judge to take this, but my understanding is if you take off for a turning jump, you need to land in the exact same position. So the whole thing about the leaps is you can kind of do like a three quarter, like 7/8 of a turn and then like scooch it over and it looks like a 360. And that's the main focus for judges is looking at the feet positioning. Now, obviously, when it comes to 180 degrees, you're thinking of knees, you're thinking of feet, you're thinking of arms. If you're like a little wobbly, you're thinking of like, torso position if you're bending forward or too backward. But I do think that a lot of people are getting deducted on the foot placement on where you take off and where you land. Especially when I competed, people didn't do this whole switch side half thing. That's trippy because they'll do a switch side and then they'll half out of that. And then they'll either do a popa or they'll do like straddle jump in place and you're kind of like thrown and it gets a little wonky with the straddle jump. So I think with the two pass routines, we're seeing more complex jump series and
Sure.
it's getting murky on some of those nuances that garner a deduction or not. So I
Yeah.
would really like to almost do like a Fast and Furious with a judge to be like, okay, can we talk about like things that you frequently see on leaps on floor in particular?
Correct.
Because I think that's where a lot of confusion is coming and it's more of a focus for people because of the two pass epidemic and less of the you're doing three passes and you just need to do a switch side wolf full.
Right.
Now we're getting all this other stuff where people are doing torsion fulls and they're doing so I think I think we should do that because I have questions.
Yeah, I also do. I will also add to what Olivia is saying. Some of the moments this season that I have been victim of saying, oh, but her leaps on a
Mm-hmm.
14 are actually coming from leaps that are in the ring position. Um, and, you know, while some of them are turning jumps that have a ring included in them, um, there is a particular height that your foot needs to be above your head, or I believe that maybe it's even dictated that it's above your ponytail or something of that nature. That if your foot is not in that particular position above your head when you hit that ring position, there's a deduction for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then when we have some of these athletes to get to that 10.0 start value, in a two pass routine doing things like a switch half ring, um, and they don't hit the ring position and they're not turning around all the way, you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about a significant deduction off of one element like that like garners the question or begs the question like could you just do a 1.5 layout instead and get the start value to 10, right? So I think that is also why it has become a very popular thing. said
Yeah.
about like, oh, but her leaps. And
Hmm.
and I can understand why and how the general fan watching beautiful landings of some beautiful tumbling passes and some great, great choreography are not able to really see the leaps precisely.
Totally.
I'll admit, there's been times I've asked Olivia, I've even asked Jordan Weber sometimes. I'm like, you guys, like, I've never had to do these things before. Like, it's hard for me to tell the difference between a tour jeté and a switch half. And I
Yeah.
have a weird way that I'm not going to describe on here how I know the difference between the two because it's embarrassing. But I now know. But to the general fan, those little things and like, where your foot, your takeoff position is and where they're supposed to land and what it's supposed to be and all the things, it's
Yeah.
very hard for the general fan to know. So that's actually a really great question
A
then.
great question, and we'll do some back end work here to perhaps get a judge on to ask some give a CTA to people to ask some questions because I would love a crash course for
Yeah,
sure.
I agree. The last things that I got on Twitter with some questions for today was about Scanlon and Adeline Kenlin. So we're all on the same page. We
I
all had
think we
some.
all can read each other's mind.
Exactly, exactly. So this is a good one, Olivia. I think it's time for us to get some rest. But this weekend I have another trip. I'm going to Arkansas. I
Fun.
will be in Fayetteville on Friday night against the University of Florida Gators. So I will get to see that bar rotation in person.
So
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Are you broadcasting this weekend?
I am not this weekend. I'm off for the next 2 weekends, and then I have UCLA at Michigan,
Amazing,
February 22nd or 23rd. I think it's 23rd, which is
amazing.
really exciting.
Yeah, but I was just sitting here thinking, I remember us talking about this weekend. It might be good for you to have 2 weekends off because you will be doing all three of the big four meets. Okay.
I would take a break from my voice for the next 3 weeks if I were any of you, because you're gonna want to kill me after those 3 meetings.
Right. I love it. I love it. But I hope we see lots of great tweets from you because I really am enjoying your hot takes on
Oh,
all of.
I'll be on the twit.
Yeah.
I'll just not be on the air.
Right. We love that. We love that. Okay. Well, on that note, a wellness check for Olivia and I. We're going to get this up this week and we're going to take our weekend, right? So, no bonus episode this week, but we have some good stuff in store and planned for you next week. So, with that, we hope you guys have an amazing weekend this weekend of some awesome gymnastics. And like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. We love garnering this new community on YouTube that we are seeing. Thank you for being here. We love to see your comments. We try to get to all of them as possible. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you so much. We see you. Oh, and look, Antonia is making her
Saying bye bye.
her weekly appearance on the channel. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, thanks for being here. We're so excited. Tell a friend about the On the Floor podcast with Liv and Cor. We hope that you tune in next week for another episode of what we're doing here. So I'm tired. My words are not stringing together.
Yo, I'm gonna go cuddle with my dog.
Okay. I'll see everyone later. Have a great week. You guys are awesome. Bye.